Welcome to Security and Compliance Weekly. Today we're joined by Oleg Shomonko, who's the head of business development for and co-founder of Ekran Systems. We're going to talk about insider threat monitoring, including topics such as activity monitoring, identity and access management, and privileged access. We're also going to touch on how these activities not only help to secure your environment, but also how they meet specific compliance requirements. We might even bring up PCI. So join us as we continue our journey of tearing down silos and building bridges on Security and Compliance Weekly.
This is a Security Weekly production. And now, it's the show that bridges the requirements of regulations, compliance, and privacy with those of security. Your trusted source for complying with various mandates, building effective programs, and current compliance news. It's time for Security and Compliance Weekly. The average cost to respond to an insider threat is $11.45 million. That's a lot of reasons why a functional insider threat program must be a core part of any modern cybersecurity strategy. To protect your organization's sensitive data and meet compliance requirements, you need controls in place to deter, detect, and disrupt insider threats. With Ekran Systems, you can meet control requirements imposed by compliance mandates all within one insider threat management platform. Get your free 30-day trial at securityweekly.com/Ekran. That's EKRAN, and fulfill your compliance requirements. It's the end of the quarter. You've got a mountain of compliance tasks to complete, daily requests from sales for security documentation, and an upcoming audit. You're waiting on evidence requests, and you can't find the policy you wrote last week. Compliance management is hard. Aptable Comply makes it simple. Comply is an end-to-end, purpose-built GRC platform to manage compliance. From automating evidence collection to integrating with your existing SaaS tools, Comply simplifies the hardest parts of managing compliance. Reduce manual processes and build trust with your customers. Visit securityweekly.com/Aptable to learn more. Are you struggling to reduce your cybersecurity risks and meet compliance mandates? Wishing you could be proactive instead of reactive? You need a solution that integrates cybersecurity together to make it affordable, accessible from anywhere, and simplistic, so you can gain a return on investment on your resources. Cyrisma is your answer. It gives you a single interface to identify sensitive data, vulnerable systems, insecure configurations, track progress, and assign accountability. Visit securityweekly.com/Cyrisma today for a 7-day test drive and impress your leadership. That's Cyrisma, CYRISMA.
Welcome to episode number 42 of Security and Compliance Weekly, which is being recorded on the first unofficial day of fall, September 8th, 2020. I'm assuming lots of folks out there are still working from home, and they're probably now competing for bandwidth with all their kids that are having to do virtual schooling. So hopefully we can squeeze by and you're able to watch us today. Speaking of which, I have two daughters that are both teachers and are both starting their first day of teaching remotely, and they've already reported this morning that each one of them respectively have had their portals crash, so they're not able to do anything. One's in Philadelphia, one's in Richmond. At any rate, I'm your host, Mr. Jeff Mann, and I am joined today by my illustrious co-hosts, Mr. Josh Marpet, Mr. Scott Lyons, and Mr. John Snyder, Esquire. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hey, this is going to be a really fun episode because we get to talk about something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is, how do you stop the insider threat, right? But before we get to that, there's been a press release that came out, right, about Cyber Risk Alliance and what happened. Jeff, do you want to talk about that real quick? Say a few words?
Cyber Risk Alliance. Why does that name ring a bell? Oh, yeah. They're now our boss.
They're now our bosses. Yes, exactly.
They're now our bosses. If you missed it, and I haven't actually seen the press release, so I can't speak to it, but
it's in the Discord.
Security Weekly Productions has been acquired by a company called Cyber Risk Alliance. So you can read up on it in the Discord server. Thank you, Scott, for putting the link up. I'll read it too when I'm not talking and not paying attention.
So The Cyber Risk Alliance owns SC Media, InfoSec World, Security Weekly, and all of the associated podcasts now. So they're a pretty hefty powerhouse in information security media. And I think that's fascinating. And I think that we're going to have a really good time having access to that entire stable of media properties.
What's scary is how much our audiences might be growing shortly once we tap into their customer database, mailing list, whatever they call it. But I do have a couple other announcements before we turn our attention to the issue at hand, which is insider threat. First off, B-Sides Boston is back in action for their 10-year anniversary. The conference will be held virtually on Saturday, September 26th, and tickets are only $10. You can get your very own ticket by going to https://bsidesbos.org. That's bsidesboss.org. Some of the Security Weekly team's actually going to be hanging out in our own channel on the B-Sides Boston Discord server. We'll be answering questions and maybe doing some contests, so we hope to see you there. Also, if you are so inclined, you can join the Security Weekly mailing list and get announcements for all of our webcasts and virtual trainings, as well as receiving a personal invitation to our Discord server. We've been having a lot of fun on the Discord server for the last month or so since we've been using it during our live broadcasts. To get there, you can go to securityweekly.com/subscribe, click on the button to join the list. All right. Today we have a special guest with us, our sponsor, Ekran Systems, who I was first introduced to, I think, back in June, because I got a LinkedIn message from one of their marketing people asking, well, first off, they thanked us for the great show that Security and Compliance Weekly is, so they thanked us for putting the show on, which was kind of cool to get feedback, and they also were asked if we were interested in reviewing security products that are related to the PCI field. And I perked up PCI. So I went to their website, and lo and behold, much to my surprise and amazement, they actually listed several specific PCI DSS requirements that they felt like their product actually meets. And I immediately wrote back and said, wow, just the fact that you've got actual requirements listed on your website and not the usual generic, well, we monitor for compliance like most vendors do. It was like, sold. I want to talk to you guys. I want to have you guys on the show. Fast forward a couple months later, and here they are. They've been a sponsor for the last couple months. They signed up for a sponsorship, and today, finally, and I know he's been chomping at the bit, anxious to get on the show. We have Oleg Shomonko with us. Oleg, welcome to Security and Compliance Weekly. Oleg, sorry.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this interview. And I assume I should tell a little bit more about me, about our company. My name is Oleg Shomonko. I am sitting now in Ukraine, East Europe, and I am a co-founder of several IT companies, including Ekran Systems Incorporation. I got a master's degree in mathematics, diploma with honor. I worked in software engineering service industry it's about 20 years. So I participated in about 100 different security projects. I have 10 years experience in building and managing successful security R&D team for leading vendors in United States, in UK, in Korea software markets. As for our company, Ekran Systems is insider threat protection product. We started our sales and marketing activities 8 years ago, mostly from Europe and Pacific Asia. At the moment, we have totally about 1,000 of customers, mostly from financial institution, government, etc. We are included in privileged account management for the financial service sector, special publication by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. We are listed in approved partner providers and independent software vendors for Windows Virtual Desktop. So Microsoft tested our solution and now recommends our solution to their customers. Very important, we are growing we have growing about 100% annually during last 4 years. And even with COVID situation, we expect the same this year. To compare with marketing growing only 70%. My official role in the company now is head of business development, but I also take part in building technology strategies and roadmap for the Ekran product as a product manager. I listened to your previous interviews where you asked about hobbies. So I will not wait for your question. My hobby is badminton. I tried different sport, parachute jumping, everything, but in my opinion, badminton is the best sport worldwide. So now I'm ready for your questions.
Well, thanks, Oleg, and thank you for jumping right in with a little bit about yourself without me having to read from my script. I do have one question for you leading off that we like to call our hot seat question, which is, and especially in the context of your product, it'll be interesting as we talk about this today. But where do you fall personally, or where does Ekran System fall in terms of this thing that we like to call the security versus compliance continuum? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure. Could you repeat the question? I'm not sure I understand you correctly. What do you think?
Sure. I will be happy to restate the question for you. One of the reasons why we put this show together is because there is a great disconnect between what we call the security world, which tends to be the hacker community, vendors, developers, and what we call the compliance world, the world of audits and assessments and PCI and NIST and HIPAA and SOC 1s and 2s and so on and so forth. So, a lot of people, that are on the security side look down their nose at the compliance world, and a lot of people in the compliance world sort of don't know what the security world is all about, but they talk funny and dress funny, so they try to avoid them. So, we just try to set the stage. There's no right or wrong answer, but we're just interested in, in the world that you live in. How do you see the security world? How do you see the compliance world? Do they work together, play together? Are they related? Are they different? What are your views on that?
So let me back to our history. If we are talking about insider threat generally, so as you know, previously IT security was oriented mostly to external threat protection. This is different antiviruses, firewalls, and many security compliances, they has requirements to have antiviruses, firewall, whatever. But insider threat protection was very underestimated subject, according to Verizon, according to many analytics companies. This report, Panama Institute reports that it costs average $11.5 million now on incident caused by insider threat. So if we are talking 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when we started our product with purely monitoring tool, we tried to educate people. So we tried to explain why it's so important. But now, because of many cases in security, you can see this almost every day, almost weekly. We have more and more different security compliances, which require establish insider threat program in your company. So we are talking about, for example, NIST 853 security compliance, and we have more and more leads on inbound leads on our website because of this compliance. SWIFT customer security program, which was released 2 years ago, they have requirements to establish insider threat program. HIPAA, GDPR, PCI DSS as well. So we have more and more security compliances about this. I hope I answered your question. So now we shouldn't educate people why it's important, because there are many compliances now about this.
Wait, hang on. Actually, I think I have. Hang on.
Яка ваша думка щодо дотримання та безпеки? Яка...
Did you hear that?
Yeah. This is
Okay.
Ukrainian. Yeah, my native language.
Yeah, well, I did a translate. So I translated, what's your opinion on compliance versus security? Because you answered in terms of Ekran, and I respect that. But we're asking more of your personal opinion, I think, unless I misunderstood your answer.
What is my opinion? It's hard question because we provide product to our customer, and very often we even don't know how exactly our customer uses this product.
No, ignore the product. Ignore the product. Security, compliance. They're the same? They different?
I don't see the difference. We are a company which certified by ISO, and we pass this compliance. And this is mandatory for now for this reality to be protected.
Works. Interesting. Okay. So, so you actually mentioned something in an earlier discussion about, do you mind if I go into the user behavior analysis?
Oh,
because
yeah.
You said something that was just like, I'm itching to talk about. You said that user behavior analysis is crap. And I would love to discuss that.
It's not a crap. Okay, let me explain. So,
wait, that was slang. I can use correct terminology. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we it was pretty big idea for us to start artificial intelligence engine for our product, because we have a lot of different monitored data. And it was, of course, requirement from our marketing, from our board of directors. So this is pretty hot topic. Everybody loves UIBA, artificial intelligence, etc. And we have consulting with many security companies and many services companies, which very good experience.
Right.
We discussed how we can build this engine in our product, and I realized that it is impossible for insider threat. So don't believe anybody. The only thing we can do, because it's pretty hard to detect, is it normal activity or not? For example, if somebody visited adult sites, why I should use artificial intelligence? I just can create manual rules for this. So in working time, you are not able to visit adult sites. If somebody open, I don't know, some folder first time, is it good activity or not? You don't know. You will have a lot of different false positives. So it is impossible to detect, is it a correct solution or not, behavior or not. So the only thing we can do right now is detect potentially compromised account. This is really we can do. So we can detect it's something suspicious with typical working time, something suspicious with speed of typing on keyboard. So it doesn't look like Jeff. It potentially compromised account. So please check this. But we are not able to detect this is bad activities or not bad activities. And we even thought about to send monitored data to internet. And to create global database, because we have video recording, we have a lot of indexed data. We want to teach our database in our data center and try to build some rules, but it is impossible because our customers, they don't have even connection with internet, because we have a lot of sensitive data like passwords, like sensitive information, credit card holder. So we are working completely offline. Nobody will send this information even to Microsoft or Amazon to analyze and create big database. So as an engineer, I would say that it is impossible right now, at least this year.
Okay, so you're saying that artificial intelligence does not work for user behavior analysis because you're going to get massive amounts of false positives, and no AI can actually go through all those false positives properly in order to actually determine a problem or a predicament or an issue, right?
Exactly. If you have any
Okay.
problem, you can just manually create rules exactly for this problem. But
Okay. So how is what you're doing different than an AI-based user behavior analysis system?
okay, what we can do right now, we can send a lot of different data to CM, Hewlett, for example, ArcSight or Splunk, and different CM systems, they have different plugins for to detect some abnormal behavior. But again, it would be a lot of false positive. What we can do right now is to detect potentially compromised accounts. That is all. We can't guarantee you that we can detect insider threat automatically.
You know,
by
I
our
respect the
baseline.
honesty. I respect the honesty because I'll tell you what, I've talked to a lot of companies about insider threat detection, and a lot of them have a lot of, what's the word for crap in Ukrainian?
No, skip offensive word. I would say this is everything marketing. This is marketing.
Yeah, it's marketing.
In my
yes.
opinion, as an engineer.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. There's a lot of marketing flim-flam. There's a lot of ridiculousness in the marketing of insider threat. Now, what you're saying is we can detect a potentially compromised account. That makes sense.
Only potentially compromised, nothing more. After this, you have to research, you have make investigation manually on any suspicious activities, on some suspicious person, but we can detect automatically.
So are you able to talk about, if you're not using AI, or if you're not doing behavior analysis, what is some of the secret sauce, if you're able to share with us about how you are detecting? I mean, what does a potentially compromised account look like? How are you making those kind of judgment calls?
Right now, if we are talking about potentially compromised accounts, there are different rules, like typical working time, like fingerprint of your keystroke monitoring, so we can detect something wrong with this. Of course, we have some issues, for example, with cloud services because of latency. But again, I would say this is more marketing stuff. Right now, what we can provide, we provide you, the core functionality of our product is indexed video screen recording. So we literally record all user activities in screen. We can record in smooth video, plus we record metadata, started applications, activity titles, etc. And by this metadata, you can search necessary video episode, create reports and alerts. For example, alert again about somebody tried to copy some information from this website, corporate website, to USB device. So this is not allowed by our corporate policy. We can even not to catch malicious activities or suspicious activities. We can educate people by these rules. So we allows by our product to generate different rules by monitored information and provide this information to security or to just to show warning message to user. So don't do this in working time.
So, Oleg, we have a Discord server where several of our listeners are corresponding with us, communicating with us live during the show, and we have a question from our audience. They're curious as to what degree this detection of the account is happening within the Ekran system itself, or are you just collecting the data and passing it on to whatever the SIM tool that your customers are using?
We support both. We support, so we have embedded engine because because why we have this? Because we know this data, we know exactly what this is started application, this is URL of website, but additionally we can provide this data to CM system, and because this is mandatory now for enterprise level security program, of course. So we are like data source provider, additional data source provider for CM system. So we provide you visited URLs, started application, etc. And after this, the most important, we provide video. So possibly it would take some time for investigation, but nothing can be hidden because of video. So you literally see all user activities. Somebody created zip archive, sent to FTP. So possibly investigation can take you 1 hour, 2 hours. But anyway, you will finally will be able to find anything you need.
Are you good, Josh? Because I wanted to ask a PCI-related question.
No, go ahead. Good.
Or
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'm comfortable.
If we are talking about, if you don't mind, if we are talking about PCI DSS, I'm going. I assume we will have some time for demo, and I'm going to provide you demo exactly from PCI point of view. So
that's super. Yeah, we'll save that for the second segment. Actually, I was going to make more of a comment than ask a question. As I said in the intro, one of the things that immediately impressed me about your company is that you guys actually seem to know what PCI requirements that you were dealing with, which was so refreshing to me. The requirements in question you have listed out on your website, but they mostly are the requirements that have to do with identity and access management, and most importantly, tracking all the activity of privileged access accounts. I have so many customers to this day, and I've been doing PCI for 16 years, that struggle with the ability to manage user accounts, restrict access, based on business need to know, cut down the activities of privileged accounts, and then actually track the activities of privileged users. For those reasons alone, if you guys are doing that, and that's just sort of, from what it sounds like, that's just sort of the activity that you've just collect, the data that you collect, we're talking about, and you're trying to do more with it in terms of insider threat protection, but just merely capturing that data and being able to pass it on to a SIM solution or wherever the customer wants it. From a PCI perspective, that's huge, because there's so many companies out there that struggle with that because, well, they don't know what they're doing. Is my read on it.
Yeah, it's very important. By the way, I forgot to notion that we participated in MAX 37 Cybersecurity Accelerator, and after this, I understood that it's very important to speak the same language with your audience. So if we have subjects that we support PCI DSS, and our audience are technical people, so we should provide exactly information, what requirements from PCI DSS we help to cover by our solution. Of course, it is impossible to cover all requirements, but sure, we provide more information about this. By the way, as far as I know, there is no strict requirement from PCI DSS to have video recording of user session. But I hope in new version of PCI DSS, they have more strong requirements for user monitoring.
You can hope.
Yeah, because now we have more and more. If we are talking about PCI DSS, we don't have a lot of leads yet, a lot of customer. But if we are talking about, for example, SWIFT, Customer Security Program, and NIST, they already have requirements about indexed video screen recording via jump server, for example. And so that is why people use our product in their environment.
Well, because I work for a QSA company and we have access to the draft version of version 4, we're sworn to secrecy to reveal details at this time. But what I will say to you, and hopefully I don't get in trouble for this, is that while the exact detail of what you're asking may or may not be in the new version of the DSS, what is coming in the new version of the DSS is more flexibility to satisfy the requirements in more and different and creative and technologically advanced and forward-thinking ways rather than sort of the traditional view, well, PCI says I have to run an antivirus solution, so I need to have some sort of signature-based solution. I can't entertain all these other cool things. Well, they're making it easier for all the other cool things and all the new technologies that are available from a security perspective to be used to meet the requirements, as long as it makes sense, as long as it's meeting the spirit of the requirements. So in that respect, it's certainly a possibility.
So you're basically saying it's
I don't know.
descriptive rather than prescriptive.
Is it good or not for us? I don't know yet. Is it possible to get this draft, or it's still hidden?
It's possible, but you might need to work with your marketing department to come up with more meaningful language that actually makes sense and is relevant, and it appeals to the PCI ear. To the companies that have to do PCI, and companies that have to do PCI, by and large, are looking for point solutions to meet specific requirements. They don't need yet another tool that's just going to monitor their environment and tell them the 50,000 ways that they're doing things wrong. They want to have specific tools that actually meet the specific requirements and actually help them do the requirement, meet the requirement.
Yeah, absolutely agree, because actually we organically grew to company which support access management, identity management, just because we are working with security departments of big companies, and we develop with them our roadmap. Actually, after each technical demo, I have new requirements. Please add new feature, etc. And if we are talking about roadmap, for example, it's pretty.
Okay.
The question is about task priority, because at the moment I have thousands of requirements, and of course the priority one is requirements from security departments, because to comply with different security regulations. So this is number one for us.
Great. Well, hey, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll continue the discussion. And you mentioned that you have a little bit of a demo for us. We're all anxious to take a look and see what this thing looks like. So hold on tight. We'll be right back.
The question is simple. Have any of the systems on my network been compromised? The answer is harder than it should be. Enter AI Hunter. Active Countermeasures has automated and streamlined techniques used by the best pen testers and threat hunters in the industry to create AI Hunter, a network threat hunting solution that does the first pass of a hunt for you to identify systems that are most likely to be compromised and scores the results on a scale from 0 to 100. You can then research those systems in depth with AI Hunter. Focus your valuable time on the systems that need your expertise with AI Hunter. Sign up for a personal demo today at securityweekly.com/ACM. RSA offers business-driven security solutions that provide organizations with a unified approach to managing digital risk and designed to effectively detect and respond to advanced attacks, manage user access control, and reduce business risk, fraud, and cybercrime. For a limited time, get mobile multi-factor authentication from RSA Secure ID Access for free to help secure your remote or dynamic workforce long-term. Leverage push notification, biometric, and one-time password authenticators to secure access to your cloud applications, on-premises systems, legacy systems, privileged accounts, and more at no cost for 6 months. For more information, visit securityweekly.com/RSA Security.
Welcome back to Security and Compliance Weekly, where we've been talking to Oleg Shomonko, the co-founder and head of business development for our sponsor, Ekran Systems. We've been talking about insider threat monitoring, and we're going to get right back to that right after these announcements. If you have a specific guest or topic suggestion that you would like to submit, you can submit your suggestions by visiting securityweekly.com/guests. You'll find a form there. Fill it out. We review them on a regular basis, and we'll get back to you if we have any questions or want to follow through with that. Also, Security Weekly is ramping up our webcast and technical training schedule for the rest of 2020. We're into the home stretch now, Q4, almost, depending on your calendar, of course. In September, you can learn how to extend the enterprise network for remote workers and protect your home network. Find out why traditional data security can't be zero trust, and learn how to reduce the blast radius of your cloud infrastructure. To sign on, go to securityweekly.com/webcast to see what we have coming up. Register for any that you're interested in. And of course, you can look at any of our previously recorded webcasts or trainings by going to securityweekly.com/on-demand. All right. We'll get back to Oleg. You mentioned right at the end of the first segment, we wanted to talk a few minutes about how Ekran Systems sort of got their start and what was their involvement with Mach 37. I know Josh is affiliated with Mach 37. So Josh, why don't you take the lead and talk Mach 37 with Oleg for a few moments?
Happily. I enjoyed Mach 37 immensely. So, Oleg, I went to Mach 37 in the F-14 class. That was the fall of 2014. And I actually went there with a company called Bijoti, which I founded and started, and then about a year and a half later closed. So I'm a Mach 37, not a failure.
Dropout?
I learned a lot. Let's put it that way. When did Ekran show up at Mach 37?
It was 3 years ago.
Okay. So 3 years ago was before the management turnover. So you still had Rick Gordon and Dan Woolley and who else?
You asked me hard questions. Dan Woolley, number one, I would say. And he is very smart. And by the way, if we are talking about Mach 37, of course, I would recommend all startups, security startups, to participate in Mach 37. And I will try to explain why. And because Mach 37 killed an engineer inside me.
Oh, you got to explain.
I should explain. Okay? Because, after Mach 37, I understood that you can create wonderful product with a lot of different checkbox options, but if you are not able to explain people, who are you, what problems do you resolve, how exactly, etc., what is your benefits, you are not able to sell your product. You have, even for technical people, you have just 5-10 seconds to explain what is your product. Nobody will check your product with different options, etc. So it's very important. So now I understand why VC companies tries to kick off Tech CEO as soon as possible, because they speak by different languages completely.
Yeah.
Engineers,
Oh,
marketing, sales, they speak different languages. So the biggest impact of Max 37, they put me at the middle, so I can understand everybody.
You know, Dan used to tell me that there are three kinds of companies. There are engineering-led companies, and they never succeed because they're always, oh, we can fix that, give us another 2 weeks. Oh, we can build that feature, give us another 3 months.
Yep.
There's sales-led companies, which never succeed because they're always selling the next version and not selling the one you have, so they don't bring in revenue. And then there's marketing-led companies, and they succeed because they go to the customer and go, what do you want? Oh, okay, we can build that. And they build something the customer wants, and the customer does this amazing thing called give you money for it, and then you succeed. It's an amazing concept. So I agree with you. I call Mach 37 my entrepreneurial MBA.
Yeah, and you know, after each release, for example, when my tech writer created release notes, and I typically asking, I don't understand why I should use this option. Please explain me. Why I should? Okay, I understand. By this option, you can, for example, disable, enable, database cleanup, etc. Why I should use in my company this option? You should explain me. I don't. Of course, I understand because I created specification for this for this option. But people hate
What's the purpose? What's the reason?
The same in marketing. So, according, for example, marketing can tell our product can help you with PCI DSS. Guys, our audience are very technical. Please explain how exactly we can help you with PCI DSS. After this, we can help. We can find point 1, point 2, point 3. So it's it's very big problem between engineers, marketing, and sales. And Max 37, they have sales training, marketing training, R&D. But the biggest impact was marketing point of view, I would say.
The biggest impact for me is learning the question, why do I care? And if you can't answer that question,
it's a question from the person. Yeah, exactly.
Dan is one of my personal mentors. He is brilliant. I cannot recommend him enough. I think he's right now with Mid-Atlantic Venture Association. I have to give him a call. I haven't talked to him in too long. I'm sorry, Dan, if you're listening. But like, he taught me more than I could have learned in a dozen lifetimes. The man is brilliant. I asked him once, Ekran, Oleg, you'll get a kick out of this. I asked him once, can you explain how to do distribution through multiple tiers of resellers? Because I'm really confused by this. A distributor, a reseller, whatever. He goes, oh, N-tier distribution. 12 whiteboards later, he had explained the basic concepts to me, and I was, okay. The man has more knowledge locked up in his skull than it's possible to have. It's insane. By the way, just for reference, he used to run all of the partnerships and associations for all of Dell. He was in charge of marketing for, I think, HP, ex-military, Air Force. Don't hold that against him. I'm kidding. Like, he used to tell me a story. Did he ever tell you the story about putting a boat in the Potomac near the Pentagon?
Yeah.
He loves that story.
I know this story. Yeah.
So yeah, Dan is fantastic. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. We are eager to take a look at what you have to show us. If you want to do the screen sharing thing, now would be the time.
1 second, please. Yeah, I'm
okay.
going to share. So, can you see my desktop right now?
Yes, we can.
And I know some guys are listening right now, so I try to explain everything which I'm going to show you. So, my technical demo could take 1 hour. I don't have so many minutes right now, so let's see our product from PCI DSS point of view. Okay, so more information you can find on our website. You can see in solution and compliance page, PCI DSS, and so we help you to cover requirements 2, requirement 7, requirement 8, and requirement 10. And I would like to start from requirement 10 because we are really very strong from monitoring. So requirement 10, track and monitor all access to network resources and cardholder data. So the product should help you to creating audit trails, to help you to reconstructing secure audit, so no intrusion in your database, etc. So how exactly we can help you? You can see this is the list of recorded sessions, like username, client name. I can use our search, pretty powerful search engine to find necessary video episode, for example, who use regedit for investigation. And I see somebody opened this regedit and did some activities. So this is recorded session in my server on infrastructure purpose of view. So I can literally see all user activities in this server in a smooth video, and together with metadata, which I use this metadata for quick searching. Of course,
That's
I can
amazing.
export session, get current URL, and provide to manager or to court to sue somebody. I can export, etc. And of course, we encrypt monitored data by unique server certificate. So even our support doesn't have access to your monitored information.
So if I can provide some color commentary here, Oleg,
absolutely.
PCI requires the tracking of all activity, especially, specifically in requirement 10, of anyone with administrative access. Ekran says, you want track all activity? We'll give you a video of the whole session. I love it.
Absolutely. And of course,
I do have a couple of questions. Are you able to monitor activities regardless of what type of device they're on, or are you limited there?
There are different schemes of deployment. First of all, we support different operation system like Linux. Let me show you. And so we can record user activities on Linux, Unix environment.
Mm-hmm.
We can record we can record Mac, we can record your laptop, but if we are talking about, by the way, this is Linux, you can see, and all system administrator activities on Linux. But okay, I know you are PCI DSS guy, but let me open Swift KSP, because they have a certain scheme, and according to Swift KSP, we just add some our icon in this image, but this is scheme from Swift KSP program. So all activities with Swift should be done via jump server. So it could be like email server, switcher, whatever. So there is no direct connection from administrator or user or operator to this environment. Everything should be done via jump server. It's just terminal server. And in case you deploy agent on terminal server, we can literally record all terminal session, all user activities via jump server. It could be Linux or Windows environment. Of course, you can deploy on laptop, you can deploy on endpoints to get more metadata information about started application, about some other security cases which you are going to catch. For example, somebody connected to one server, and after this, he is going to connect to another server. So we can catch this in case we deploy agent here. But
I assume you can selectively choose which users or which accounts that you're triggering the video recording activity.
Of course, we have a lot of different settings. What exactly you are going to? Sorry, this is wrong page. So a lot of different settings, what exactly users you are going to monitor, what exactly application you are going to monitor, what exactly IP addresses. For example, we are going to monitor only external IP remote connection and skip all local connection or all internal connection from our VPN, and record only subcontractors or only seasoned employees, only in working time. So a lot of different settings. Okay, let me back to Swift KSP. Again, I'm sorry for IT compliances, so many pages. So if we are talking about other requirements, you can see some other requirements about Swift. No, just GDPR, I'm sorry. PCI DSS. So if we are talking about PCI DSS and generally about security compliance, so audit system is not enough. So approaching should be complex. So all requirements have access management, identity management, and we have this capacity. Of course, we are not able to compete with CyberArk in case of we are talking about access management. CyberArk is number one. But in case you need to manage access only to Windows environment in this geolocation, in this small geolocation, why you should use very expensive solution? You can use everything in one panel, just in one product, one integrated workflow, one support, one panel, one license, affordable price. So again, a lot of different functionality like password management, so you can manage access to your environment. You can provide access. This user can connect to this environment under this account and he doesn't know root password. We have access management to endpoints, so you can manage what users to which endpoint can connect, in what working time, and in case this user is going to connect in weekends, we will send email to security, and only after manual approval, he will be able to connect to this environment. So it's very important. Again, so we don't, in case your company doesn't have strong regulation for password management, and you need just manage this, so you can use such product. Why your company shouldn't be protected like Bank of America or Visa or MasterCard? You have everything in one product. Okay, and again, if we are talking about Swift, PCI DSS, it was, by the way, access management requirements number 2. Again, requirements number 7, restrict access to cardholder data. You can do this by our solution. I just displayed you. You can have in our access management integrated workflow. You can manage this user can connect to this environment just in working time. And only after security approval, for example, you can see this access management panel. And of course, we have integration with Active Directory, CM, etc. But I hope for this interview, the technical demo is enough. Or if you have any technical questions, I would be happy to answer.
Does your console here, or your solution, does it integrate into like Active Directory, or do you manage it completely separately?
Of course, we have integration with CM. We have integration with Active Directory. We have integration with SSO solution. We passed penetration testing and passed a lot of requirements from big financial institutions, including in the United States. And unfortunately, I'm not able to tell you references. Everybody wants to have references in security, but nobody wants to be a reference. So yeah, absolutely. We passed a lot of different security requirements for such solution.
Gotcha. Scott, John, Josh, any more questions?
I actually have a question. Oleg, thank you for coming on with us. There are a couple of players in the insider threat world, right? What is the differentiator for you guys at Ekran versus, let's say, I don't know, Exabeam or Varonis or McAfee?
You are talking about the OP solution. So I'm going to stop sharing if you don't mind.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So you just provided vendors for the OP mostly. Our main competitors is Proofpoint Observer IT, for example. Thanks to this company, we very appreciate to them because they created needs of such products. They invested a lot to marketing and they educated people Okay, so if we are talking about our differentiator, first of all, very easy deployment. So you can test our solution just in 20 minutes and our support can help you. We don't have SaaS version. It's very important. We provide only on-prem version, but it will take only 20 minutes to deploy it. What is next? This is, we cover different operation system. For example, we are only one solution worldwide which can record Linux graphic interface, and we have customer who record Amazon vWorkspace under Linux. We have extra light agent. Possibly we don't have some functionality like email monitoring or Skype monitoring, or something like this. But our agent is extra light. We developed this agent under C++ native language, so we don't have any intrusion in new business processes. We are much better in CPU and memory usage than our competitors. And of course, I know prices of all our competitors, and we provide the most cost-effective price scheme at the market. I hope I answered.
Congratulations, Mach 37 graduate. You've answered all of the why do I care questions in one shot. Well done, sir.
Thanks to Mach 37.
When Josh and I started with Red Lion, I'd never been to Mach 37 or even any type of tech accelerator, but just hearing the questions coming out of the murder boards from Mach 37 to really prep companies, it's taught a lot across the board. And to see companies like Ekran come out and be able to make an impact in the market and really drive the way that compliance is done through the use of technology, it's just absolutely wonderful to see. So if you get a chance to check out the demo, please do.
Well, I'll say this, is I have very peripheral knowledge of Mach 37. I mean, I know what they are, and I've known several companies that have come out of it. But the fact that Oleg is able to answer these, what I consider to be sort of basic questions, that in contrast, so many vendors that I have spoken to, especially at various trade shows. Remember when we used to actually go to trade shows? Simple questions in the before times. I mean, Security Weekly likes to ask the question in general, what problem are you trying to solve? And that's one of our discriminants on whether we'll talk to a vendor and engage them and maybe they become a sponsor or not. So I want to echo that you guys are what you're saying about Oleg being very well versed and being able to articulate what Ekran does, what they don't do, what problems they're solving, specifically what compliance problems they solve or help with. Completely refreshing. I was going to answer your question, Scott, in terms of discriminants. Go look at some of the competitors, either the ones that you named or the ones that Oleg named. See if you can find a compliance page, a solutions page, and see if they mention PCI, and see if they say we meet requirement 2, 7, 8, and 10, or parts of 2, 7, 8, and 10. I mean, it's rare that you see any vendor out there that actually drills down and has the specifics. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it's rare, and it's refreshing.
Well, it's also rare to see a vendor come on our show as well and say, we meet all of these controls, here's how it's done. Oh, and here's a demo live on air, bowing to the demo gods, of what the system actually does, right?
Yep.
So complete hats off to being able to do that.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Oleg, I have a question if I could jump in here. This is John Snyder. Obviously, starting the company you started, you looked at the world and you saw that there was a big need for what you're providing. Now, as you look forward into the future, are there specific or general threats or problems that you think will become, bigger concerns in the next 2 or 3 or 5 years? Maybe things that people don't think about today, maybe changing threats. I'm just curious to see how you see the security world and the insider threat world evolving going forward?
Okay, I just wanted to tell you that actually we started 5 different startups, and just Ekran Systems still alive because we see the most interest from different customer security departments, etc. If we are talking about insider threat generally, again, 5 years ago, I had to explain why it's so important. Now, I would say that North America is 5 years ahead to compare with other countries. We still have to explain why it's so important in Germany, for example, because everybody concerned about privacy. But now in United States, everybody understands that we are talking about legal monitoring. Not spyware. We are not spyware product. And there are more and more security compliances about this. And if we are talking about future, I think, of course, future, we will see more and more startups which will try to implement artificial intelligence engine to automatically detect insider threat. So I answered you that there is no any solution right now, but possibly in 10 years, in 20 years, it will be after some startups' death, we will see implementation under artificial intelligence, and it will be infinity war between insiders and solutions like antiviruses and viruses. So it useless, it endless. So new threat, new suspicious activities, we will add some rules. But after this, somebody, this Snowden case, some other cases. So it would be new rules, new detection, and people will try to find new ways to steal data, to do something bad activities on the company. So it will never finish, I think.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any follow-up to that, John? Comments?
I think he answered the question perfectly. So I'm satisfied.
As he has done the entire episode.
I say we wrap. Any seconds?
Yeah, I think
second. But Oleg, I got to say, you've answered the questions. You haven't ducked them. Thank you. Absolute pleasure.
Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, really appreciate it.
By the way, before we go, can I have 10 seconds to promote an event? For anybody who's interested, my company, Agnes Intelligence, on Friday, September 11th at 2 p.m. is going to be putting on a CLE, a continuing legal education, though it's open to everybody, so you don't have to be a lawyer. But it's going to be 2 o'clock on September 11th. The topic is Lawyers in the Zoom Age, How Machine Learning Can Radically Improve Review of Audio Data. And you can sign up for it at agnesintel.com/CLE. And I'll throw that into the Discord server. Thank you Thank you, Jeff.
All right, John. Yeah, and if you want to get us the link, we can drop it in the Discord server and put it in the show notes so people can find it when they listen to this in the next couple days before the 11th. So with that, Oleg, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for being a sponsor of Security and Compliance Weekly. To our audience, if you would like to check out the Ekran solution, and also if you would like to sign up for a free 30-day trial, you can go to securityweekly.com/Ekran. That's EKRAN, or if you're military, Echo Kilo Romeo Alpha November. With that, we're going to wrap things up for today, and hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly did. Very refreshing to have a vendor on that could actually answer the questions. So again, Oleg, thank you very much. Thank you. And until next time, stay safe, stay secure, stay compliant. We're out of here.